I don't know what else could be said for this ball club. I mean, good Lord. Good Lord, man.
What the hell is that?
Hey, listen. I have an explanation.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
You sure about that?
I have a very valid explanation.
Oh my God! You know what? You remind me of Bill Murray in Caddyshack. That's that face that you're making.
Cinderella story here at One Bills Drive.
Hey everybody. Welcome to the craziness that was post Chicago Bears. That was pretty rough. Right?
Listen. If the one second. If the Bills are not going to take this seriously, why the hell should I?
Yeah, that was pretty rough. That was pretty rough. Tim Ellington, right away. A man wears a hat like that shows he's not afraid of nothing. That is true. This man is clearly not afraid of anything.
I have zero. Good Lord.
So
I'm going bald, Tim. That's what it is.
Congratulations to the Buffalo Bills for tying the Buffalo Sabres in this weekend's battle of scoring. The Sabres scored 9 the other night, and the Bills put up 9 points. Their first touchdown in 30. Yeah, its first touchdown in like 30 possessions. It's like 30 quarters. They didn't have a touchdown.
What is going on?
I think, and I'm pretty sure. Oh, Des Chapman chimes in. Great one right away. No TDs this season without Allen. Actually, I don't think any other Bills quarterback has a passing touchdown, come to think of it.
Peterman.
Peterman's got a passing touchdown?
Houston.
He did?
He threw into Zay Jones in the corner, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, all right. Yeah, this is a rough one, right? So the Bills at this point have given up just as many defensive touchdowns as they've thrown offensive touchdowns. So they've completed as many defensive passing, or they've completed as many passing touchdowns as they have scored defensive touchdowns. Pretty rough start. You know.
Rodak said the last 60-some drives.
Yeah.
They have more pick sixes than scored touchdowns.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Obviously now they tied.
Can we talk for just a moment about the goal line stand at the end of the game? I just want to get to this right away. Patrick DeMarco's got one job. Like one real significant job, and it's to pave the way in short yardage situations. We had first and goal on the 1, Ivory stuffed. Second and goal on the 1, McCoy stuffed. They pull him out, and Peterman runs a sneak. Touchdown. Like, you've got one job. And we lose Chris Ivory for Lord only knows how long. That looked rough. I mean, here's the thing, elbow, a helmet to the elbow, we've seen that already this season, so probably a little bit more sensitive to that situation.
Exactly why we can't have nice things.
This is exactly why we can't have nice things, and unfortunately, Ivory was, and clearly has been the more effective back all season. He has been. Like, Chris Ivory has just simply been the more effective back all season long, and that could be all due to game plan, right? Because when Ivory's getting carries, it's, from a script standpoint, the defense may be playing back a little bit, so we could see a little bit of inflation in numbers with Chris Ivory.
Yeah, but I don't know how many of those have been in like 3rd and 12s, or
right?
Just conceding 6 or 7 yards.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But I don't. Here's what I'm gonna go to. No, here's what I'm gonna go to. Because I had this ready. I had this queued up. If you told me yesterday, and I did this during the Green Bay game.
Yeah.
If you'd have told me, you fruit
explosion muffins,
jackpot. The day is all right. So if you'd have told me yesterday, hey, guess what? What if I told you that Mitchell Trubisky is going to only complete? Was that yours?
No, I was just about to put in the chat. I bet he's going to say the Bills held the Bears to only 190 yards in offense. That's what I bet he's going to say.
It's sad when your work wife just knows you that well. No, because like you said, listen, he's going to complete 12 passes, throw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Yeah. The Bears, I hope it helped Pat too. Oh yeah, they did not have anyone go over 50 yards rushing. No one over 50 yards receiving.
Yep.
and you're going to lose by 32 points.
Yeah.
Are you?
Well, I mean, their scoring drives were 23 yards.
6.
Yeah, exactly. Like the scoring yards just weren't there. And we talk about this a lot. And this is sort of a repeating conversation is the Bills to win football games have to win the field position game. But you can't win the field position game when you have 4 turnovers. 2 of them go back for TDs. Like, it's just, you can't win field position that way. The Bills, when they were getting the ball, were deep against their own goal line.
Yes.
So, you know, you don't win football games, especially with this team. And from the Chicago Bears standpoint, what is a better team to try and defend than the Buffalo Bills, who are on now the last-ditch effort quarterbacking? And honestly, they played our wide receivers straight up all day long. They just played man all day because they just weren't worried about the Bills receivers. What, they're going to get open?
No,
let's not worry about that.
The thing about KB, if we could try to be serious, he's not a guy who ever got separation.
Mm-hmm.
He would always use body positioning to make catches, and unless you have 100% effort in doing that, you're not gonna do anything. It's just Mike Mueller writes in, I feel like my velocity throwing a football is almost on par with Peterman, and I'm a 35-year-old former high school right tackle.
John Marilla says,
Yes.
I can see the Bills are going for the first pick in the 2019 draft. Unfortunately, it does look like it's trending that way. And if you look at the 2019 draft, and this will be a topic maybe for this weekend, we could probably cover this today.
We could.
Maybe we'll cut this episode this week because we're coming into the bye week here. But a lot of defensive talent at the top of this draft, so not exactly an ideal fit for a team that is not scoring points to all the top talent is defensive. And oftentimes defensive talent doesn't garner a lot of trade value when it's like the first or second pick. So, you know,
as a trailer to that episode, if they plan on unloading some defensive talent now, in this offseason, that could be where they go.
Yep. We got some more comments here, so I want to get to the. Oh, I'm sorry. No, finish your
No,
point.
before we get to the comments, before we get to that, listen. If I could take a break from the post game for 1 second, we did an episode this week where we talked about duos in Buffalo and radio and we cannot thank you enough for the response that we got far as from you guys.
That
saying,
was
hey,
unexpected.
we enjoy your content. We enjoy this. I told my wife about it. I talked to Paul about it, and I was just like, unbelievably humbled. Thank you so much. We're so glad
seriously.
you guys enjoy this chaotic mess that we try to do every week. So once again, if I just take a real quick break and say thank you for that, that's awesome.
Yeah, all the positive comments. It was really kind of unexpected. Like that was the video was like, so thank you very much for everybody. I do want to get to some of these comments.
Yes.
So Madden Football Talk. The only guy to create scoring drives is Nate Peterman. Unfortunately, that is true. You look at the games that Derek Anderson started and not really scoring touchdowns with any other quarterback, right?
That's a great comment because you think about it this way. You think about it this respect. Who's the only guy who's been in camp since day one up until this point, who's been in the offensive meeting room, who's been running these plays by Dable? I said on an episode a couple weeks ago, I said, listen, if Nathan Peterman does anything this year, he should highlight how inept Brian Dable is at play calling because this is the one guy who has the firmest grasp of this offense because he's been there since day one when it was installed.
Yep.
And he wasn't like it was Josh Allen because remember when Allen got drafted, he wasn't allowed to look at the playbook yet.
Yeah.
Peterman's there the whole time.
Yep.
So you're running a very vanilla.
Speaking of vanilla, hey Mueller, it's not Boston cream pie, buddy. It's vanilla cream.
Oh,
Just
boy.
Don't worry about that. You gotta get the vanilla cream donut, no Boston pie. Boston pie.
No yogurt in a
can't do it.
donut.
Yeah,
But no,
that's
what
it.
I'm saying is that Peterman is above anybody, highlights how inept Brian Dable is at his play calling and creativity. And I thought about it on the way over here. And here's what I want to say. My job as a teacher. I'm a teacher. Paul's mentioned it many times. He likes to rag on it, but beside the point.
Yeah.
If I year by year kept saying, if I had a bunch of kids fail, but I said, hey, you're not giving me
Anything to work with?
any kids that work, any kids that do any work, or any kids that,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be hired there anymore.
No.
Okay?
No.
I'm not. Okay?
No.
It's my job to figure out how to reach those kids and how to get them to perform to the best of their ability. That's Dable's job.
Yeah.
That is his job.
Yeah. It's very frustrating when your leading rusher was Nate Peterman today, was it not? Was their leading rusher Nate Peterman? I'm just curious. He had that long run at the end of the second quarter that Great call on that, Nate. So glad he decided to run. I think he might have been the Bills' leading rusher today. If not, he was.
He was. McCoy rushed 13 times for 14 yards or something like that.
Yep,
It was something insane.
There was a comment, which I love these names that you just can't pronounce as words. BISP25, B-I-S-P.
That's fine.
BISP25, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Sorry
It
about
works.
that.
Sorry.
Says Nate McDermott says Peterman is an excellent quarterback sneaker. Why don't we quarterback sneak every play? We did get positive yardage out of it, and that didn't happen all day.
That's something for the stat monkeys. That's
exactly.
not for us.
Yeah. Let's see here. Below Zero commenting in. He's watching the Rams and Saints game, wondering where the hell we went wrong. Don't watch other football games, dude. It's just gonna make your Sundays miserable. Don't do it.
I saw a tweet out today that said, "I envy all of those fans that get to watch like actual NFL teams."
I know, right? It's pretty crazy how awful the game was called. Like, you can see the Bills. The whole idea was they wanted to bring the secondary up with quick passes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to try and spread them out. That's what the Bills' offensive game plan was. Is okay, let's spread them out, let's spread them down, right? And then that'll open up the run game. Except that doesn't work. That doesn't work. That's not how defenses work in the NFL. Just to let you know, when you bring defenders down, the last thing that works is the run. Like, you don't bring defenders down to help your run game. That's not what you do. You run the ball to bring defenders down to open up the long pass game. This whole the script right from the beginning of the game, you could just see it was going to be a disaster. Daboll finally had a laminated play call sheet, so
whoever bought it for him, thanks.
I know, right? Whoever bought that laminator for Brian Daboll. You know what Thurman Thomas used to say?
What's
He used
that?
to say, "Act like you've been here before." That's what he used to say.
That wasn't Barry Sanders?
No, it was Thurman. I thought
it was Barry.
Barry didn't talk much.
I thought that's why he always handed the ball to the ref every time.
Isn't that what Thurman did?
Act like you've been there before.
Isn't that what Thurman did?
I don't know.
All right, somebody's got to spot check that one. I thought that was Thurman, but I could be wrong.
I strongly believe that at halftime of this game, they went in and McDermott went over to Peterman. What do you want to call coming out in the second half?
Yeah.
What do you want to run? What plays
Yep.
are you comfortable with running in the second half? And you know what? Because you knew the Bears were going to play off. What do you like? Let's see what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And you know what? He was decisive. He was pinpoint on some of this things, even though his arm's not strong at all. But in that first second half drive, you started to see he was very comfortable with the plays that he was calling and running in that time. And even though the Bears played off, he was able to move the ball down. Going for 3, you're down 28-0, dude.
Well, Daryl Johnson said you have to have something positive to build on. That's not a thing.
Daryl Johnson wears a
That's
shirt.
not a thing. You're down almost 30 points.
He wears
What
a
are you
shirt
doing?
that says second place is the first loser. Like, I don't understand where he ends up doing that. I don't understand.
So now we enter the bye week, and this has kind of been something that we've talked about. This offense is terrible, and actually there's a lot of comments in here. So again, thank you in the live chat.
Yeah, we're
a lot
gonna
of
get to
comments coming in talking about how ineffective the Bills' offense is. Outside looking in says still less than 100 points in 10 weeks with the bye week counting next week. 4 more to get to 100. What game will we get to 100? The Bills haven't scored 100 points on the season yet.
They had 87 coming into today.
Yeah.
Can I get a timeout real quick?
Oh, no. I'm going by stats here.
I'm going by
yeah,
Miguel
yeah.
Deval.
Yeah, so that's 96 points, right?
No. Daboll's play calling isn't adapting to the offense. The offense is a dumpster fire. You can tell he listens to us.
Yeah, that's true.
Dumpster fire is like our favorite word.
Yeah, it is.
Favorite phrase.
Yeah, that's not.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then Jason Crandall, I know we don't have a lot of offensive talent, but Daboll is awful. Our interior line is the weakest spot, and he just tries to run shady up the gut. Thomas Camp says the Bills have the worst offense since 1918. My 30-pack is almost finished. Believe me, dude, if we didn't have to drive and record after this, you wouldn't be alone there. Yeah. Cheers to all of those joining us at home. One thing that offensive coordinators will do with really weak offensive lines is run screens. It's one thing that you can do with a weak offensive line because as long as they can move all right, it's all scheme. right? So you run screen plays because you're not depending on the offensive line for that play to be successful. Is
And
that one way to cover up a weak offensive line?
Well,
I guess is a good way for me to ask that.
And you'd think it would work better because every play as a defensive lineman feels like a screen because you're always getting in there so quick. For any team that plays the Bills,
Yeah.
you're always getting in there. Every play
Yeah.
must feel like a screen.
Yep.
No, I mean, there's ways you can tip your hand though, as far as get a screen. They haven't run a lot of them.
Yeah.
They haven't, and because they haven't run a lot of them, you don't really set. You got to try to set them up as far as the screen goes.
Yeah.
But it's disastrous watching this offense. I rearranged my sock drawer during the second quarter when this offense was on the field. That's how bad it was.
Yep. It's truly terrible. Truly terrible. Miguel Duval, how is it that all 31 teams are so consistent and put points on the board, but the Bills seem to have such a hard time with consistency? They lack execution. Absolutely. I mean, but again, you look at the depth on this team. And I hate to talk about the talent level at the receiver position, right? But what you do is, if your receivers can't get separation, then you need to lean on the tight ends, right? You saw the Bills start to do that a little bit more today, but how many catches did Charles Clay have?
Well, he got hurt too.
Yeah.
So
you leaned on Kroom. We didn't really lean on him. Like, that's the thing, is that you knew that the Bears were just going to man you on the outside and just play man-to-man with the wide receivers. So what does that do for you as an offense? So if you're the offensive coordinator, you know that the Bears are just going to play you man. How do you approach that? What's your approach to when you know it's just man coverage?
bunch.
Right.
I call a bunch formation. I call a lot of bunch formation. I try to create a lot of confusion at the line of who's going to go. I try to throw in a lot of motion. But you're talking about with the consistency at the quarterback position, how often could you use that motion? Number one, the motion is supposed to tip you off whether or not it's man or zone. Because that's the first inclination. Sometimes that doesn't happen. But it's majority of the time, if you run across the formation and someone runs with you, they're in man. All right. So now as a quarterback, I'm sitting there, okay, they're in man.
Where's the mismatch?
What route is going to be like one of the best to throw here?
Right.
And then you go from there. Or you could say, hey, listen, they're in man. They may be blitzing. Okay, let me see. What edge can they come off of?
That's a great point.
So I can tell my running back, all right, 55 is Mike, so he knows I'm going to go to the right side or left side to block whatever is going on. They don't do that at all. They come out in doubles. They come out in trips. They come out in I formation, and they're like, listen. Who said it? Oh, it was awesome. I believe it was John Marilla. Hamburg High is a better offensive playbook.
I bet you it didn't take 9 weeks for them to get theirs laminated. James Parsons, not only did our O not score points, they gave up 14. Absolutely true. Best 25 with the fire, based off of our last episode that aired last week. We should hire Jeremy White as GM and coach. The dude knows everything. And Mike Shope as his assistant. He knows everything too. Of course, we have calls for a new OC. Todd Haley's the name out there, but again, if I'm looking at anybody, I'm telling you, Ken Dorsey's the name to know. He's never been an OC before, but he was the quarterback's coach in Carolina. Guys, we can see the writing on the wall here, right? You see where this is going.
Bye week is when it happens because
bye week is where we've talked about all season of, do you make a quarterback change? Well, obviously we didn't make it past the first half with that. And
Nate Peterman completed his first game today.
That is true. That is, congratulations, Nate. Starting and completing your first NFL game. Congratulations.
It only took you 2 years.
Yeah, it only took 2 seasons. But the bye week is the time where you look at possibly changing OCs. Right?
Yes,
because at this point, I mean, if you know that Dable really isn't your guy, there's no reason in keeping him. And think about it for a moment, right? If the whole idea of this season is to let Josh Allen develop, what precisely is he going to learn or develop this season with the way that it's going, right? If you are being... Are you shutting him down the rest of the season?
I would.
Are you just riding it out? Even if you change OCs, are you shutting him down?
I think you have to. I think for the same reason you want... If realistically, if the Bills just wanted him to learn this year, sit back, learn, watch, see the speed of the game, we'll eventually work you in and everything. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. But I think you risk it. You risk him more further injury behind this line.
Yep.
You risk him further injury with no receivers getting open, and the kid himself will try to make every play. He jumped over Anthony Barr for crying out loud.
Yeah.
He tries to, I've never seen him slide yet. So those things he eventually has to learn. And I think you shut him down for the year. I mean, because you're not going to win anything. Might as well go for that top 5 pick, which is something that you wanted last year. And we talked about it on a previous episode. We tried talking about, listen, maybe you can't openly say it to the public or to your organization, we're tanking this year.
No, of course you can't.
Because it obviously looks like they are.
Yeah, of course you can. Absolutely, you cannot.
God.
A few more comments we want to get back to. Why don't we sign Chad Kelly? Chad Kelly is better drunk than Nate Peterman is sober. Below Zero, my 4-year-old drunk is better than Peterman. Truthfully speaking, guys, I sent out a tweet during the game that said, watching this game is like what I thought Trent Edwards would play like drunk. So I'm glad we're on the same page here, because this is what I felt like Trent Edwards would look like if he played drunk. I do want to point out how big a loss Tremaine Edmonds was for this game.
Yes.
Boy, was there a big hole in the middle, man.
We complain. Is the word complain right? Do we complain about him?
I think we've been critical of Edmonds.
Okay,
we've been critical of
I like
Edmonds.
the word critical
better.
better.
That's fair.
Okay, so we have been critical of Edmonds because, I mean, we had stated, because one of the things that gets lost in the goofiness of what we do is that we're both tape hounds. I mean, we don't watch it as much as we want to, but we do break down film, and especially during the draft and all that stuff. And you could see that, just if we can go back for a minute, him in college, raw athleticism is what he beat everybody on.
Yeah.
You can't really do that in the pros. No. And one of the things that he did, that you pointed out, was on play action, he tends to come up really hard.
Yeah.
And that's not going to bode well. Yeah. Baltimore gave the blueprint to the rest of the league for Tremaine Edmonds, but him in the middle, being raw, being a rookie, you still have to account for him.
Sure.
And you know what? The Bears didn't have to today.
Nope.
They didn't have to account for him.
Yeah.
Sanford, is his name Stanford?
Yeah.
51. Wasn't horrible, but he's not Tremaine Edmonds.
No.
You know what I mean? So that's...
No.
I didn't think he was terrible, but you did lack a lot of things in there with Tremaine Edmonds out of there. So.
Well, I think that, again, speaks to the front office. Like, you drafted Tremaine Edmonds, and then you ignored the depth at the position. That's what you did, right? So the depth has been a problem with this team all season, right? This is not Major League, where you can go and just sign a bunch of dudes off the street and win, right? This is not the movie Major League. This doesn't happen. So the fact that this roster is built the way that it is really, really terrifying for the future, right? Because if you are building, you want to see positive building blocks. You want players in seasons like this to get out there and to learn. And, when I'm looking at it and, you look at the game, today hurt a little bit more because today felt like a waste of my time as a fan, because I'm about right now, although I didn't love either draft pick of Josh Allen or Tremaine Edmonds, I will never hide that. But I look at each game as an opportunity for them to learn. And today, no Josh Allen, right?
Nope.
You lose an opportunity for him to learn. Even if you lose, there's some positives that maybe you can bring out of it. Tremaine Edmonds, you look for an opportunity for him to learn. Well, he didn't play today. So what? Teron Johnson? Is that where we are now? That today was great for Teron Johnson. Today was great for Zay Jones. Like, I'm sorry, but I've been a Zay Jones apologist for a long time, and dear Lord, does he look bad. He just looks bad. Bad. And it's problematic because we invested a high pick in him, right? We invested a second round pick in him. We traded up to get him. And that's not going to work out, right? But unfortunately, with wide receivers, you don't know that until year 2, year 3, year 4, as to whether that pick was actually worth it or not. So the Bills are in a very peculiar series of circumstances with building the roster. Mario, you have a point, so I would love to see what that is.
Can you accurately evaluate any wide receiver playing in this offense?
I can't say it's all Dable's fault.
Unless you're just judging pure one-on-one play, how to get off a defender, how to run a route, how to do certain, you know what I mean? But I think it's kind of tough. I think it's kind of tough to evaluate a wide receiver in this offense because it's so putrid.
I disagree wholeheartedly because open is open. right?
Gotcha.
If your
Right.
if your
Okay.
job is to run this route, your job is to run this route and get open. Whether it's the right route from a play scheme side doesn't matter, right? It's you were supposed to run this route. Are you running it? The problem.
I'm just saying, if I give you a Thanksgiving turkey and I hand you a spoon to cut it, I'm not going to evaluate how you cut the turkey, how bad you cut it.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Very stupid
I get
example,
that.
but I'm trying
That's
to
a
say.
terrible example, but the
But
point.
I'm giving you a utensil to cut a meat.
Yeah. You know what? That's a terrible analogy.
I love
That's
terrorizing
terrible.
him. It's just
Yeah,
too much
that's not
fun.
that's not a great analogy.
But do you want to finish your point? Because I got one on outside looking in. I wanted to respond to him.
Okay, yeah. So again, like you have to look at what building blocks are there for the future, and I'm very concerned with the young building blocks that are there. If we're looking for next season to be, season where we get it all right, I'm tentative to believe that because you hit on Trey White, great job. Fourth cornerback off the board, you traded down, great job, right? Outside of that, and Matt Milano in the fifth, right, as a fifth round pick.
Yep.
But again, outside of that, I'm not really loving the draft classes as they've been.
Are you putting the asterisk next to Trey White and Matt Milano too?
Because it was Whaley's pro
Because it was
personnel
Whaley's
department.
pro personnel department.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
We always beat
Absolutely.
that dead horse, but I think that's a valuable
Yeah.
piece of information.
So let's just
Whaley's.
talk, yeah.
So okay, all right.
Yeah,
so,
let's break down what that actually means.
Okay, prior to the 2017 draft, all right, Whaley and his staff were still there. McDermott had just gotten there. Bean was not there. Bean, by the time the draft had happened for 2017, the Whaley's pro scouting department had done all the legwork for what was going to happen in that draft. Three, what was it, 3 months or 2 months? That's when Bean was hired.
Right.
Prior to that,
Right.
maybe 2 or 3 months, Bean was hired prior to that. So he didn't bring any of his personnel in there. So then what happens is they go through the entire draft of all the homework and everything, all the studying that Whaley's pro scouting department had done, and then they draft.
Right, with McDermott as the head coach.
With McDermott the head coach.
Right.
The one thing that I will say that was probably number one McDermott was talking to Kansas City and Andy Reid and trading back. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I can ascertain was McDermott's doing or Bean's doing in that respect. But then after that, was it a week? Not even a week later, Whaley and his department are fired. Okay, because you want to start scouting for the next year right away. So what happens is they scout and they come back, and then what you have seen with the Josh Allen, Tremaine Edmonds, and then what Teller and all those guys and the wide receivers in the 6th, 7th round.
Yeah.
That's all Bean in their scouting department.
Right.
So if you had to evaluate the 2017 draft versus the 2018 draft, obviously they traded. I like the foresight they had to trade back to acquire another first-round pick because they thought they would have needed it to get a quarterback because everyone touted this class as the quarterback class. You
Right.
had Darnold, you had Mayfield, you had
Yeah.
Allen, you had all these guys in this class, Rosen.
Yeah.
So they looked ahead to say, hey, we may need another pick to get up there. Let's do it. And I assume they didn't think they were going to be very good last year.
Yeah.
So that's why and then they end up having to trade assets. We've been through this, the ringer all
Right.
the time. But
But getting back to the pro personnel department.
yeah, what I've seen from this pro personnel department, except for in season getting players and developing players that they have, like we saw Marlowe come in for that one game.
Yep, played great, then
Played
gone.
great, and then they traded for Phillips,
Yeah.
or they picked up Phillips.
Yeah.
So they're able to scout players that are already playing in the league. But as far as evaluating college talent coming in, I don't care if they have 10 picks. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I'm not
It
impressed with
scares
that
me.
right now. Yeah, I'm not impressed
It
with that right
terrifies
now.
me. But the one thing that I wanted to connect it to with
Outside looking in.
outside looking in,
Yep.
he said that where was
it? This one?
about the draft?
Yeah, tanking.
Tanking for what? What
Yeah.
player other than a QB is worth tanking for that can have a win impact? But here's the thing you have to remember: if you're for the, okay, they have 10 picks. This is great. Not only if they get like, let's say they're drafting 3rd overall. Okay. Well, I know this is gonna sound like really basic, and I'm sorry if it does. Every round, they're picking there.
Yeah.
So that round, a 2nd round pick, which is the 35th pick in the draft, ends up being highly touted. The 3rd round pick, the 4th round pick. So those are you're picking at the beginning of those rounds as well. So those become number 1 picks to trade with another team if you want to get a known commodity during the draft
Yep.
or during the off season. So you say, hey, if the season ends and the Bills pick 3rd overall, and you could say to yourself, hey, we got a 3rd round pick that's better than the Rams third-round pick. You want to take our pick instead. You know what I
Right.
mean? And they can trade for known commodities. So not just that first round, all the subsequent rounds that they have picks end up falling underneath that third overall pick.
Right, yeah, that's a great
So-
point. A couple things. First off, Dennis Chapman puts in Harrison Phillips. I like the Harrison Phillips pick, right? So out of this draft class, I'm down with the Harrison Phillips pick. That was a good pick.
Yep.
So I don't want to downplay that. Calvin Benjamin, how lazy is he running routes? Good God, I felt like it was Sammy Watkins out there with tuck and roll. Like he just fell in the end zone. That wasn't pass interference. He just straight fell. The interception.
Well, he got pushed the one for the pick.
On Fuller.
I think he got pushed.
He
He tripped too.
I couldn't tell if Fuller pushed him. It looked like he might have. But regardless, he had no business going down for that ball. No business going down for it. So, I mean, just lazy route running. I do want to hit on Sam Bradford real quick because we had some questions about the Bills signing Sam Bradford. I mean, at this point, why are you wasting your money? Any money you spend this year, you're not going to have next year because there's rollover cap. So whatever money you're not going to use this year, you'll be able to leverage next year as rollover. So if you sign any more players, that's kind of why the Terrell Pryor signing was kind of like trivial to me. Because I go, what are you really signing him for? Are you signing him to audition for you for next season? What are you doing here? And then I thought to myself, you need to buy the locker room. You need to buy the locker room and say, no, guys, listen, we're trying to improve this offense. Look, we brought in another weapon. We're trying to keep it on track. So I think the Terrell Pryor pick was more. Well, I mean, you look at who's available, and you got Des Bryant.
Because Joe Love was in Houston.
Well, the Bills have Logan Thomas, who was a more prolific college quarterback at Virginia Tech than Tyrod Taylor. So, I mean,
Check the
that.
stats. That's fun.
That is true. But, I think they're buying a little bit of the locker rooms. I think they were looking to buy some of their appreciation for the fact that they're still trying to improve the team, with as bad as the record is, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, any money you spend now, you're not going to have next year. So what are you doing spending money this year? Unless it's on somebody you can snag from a practice squad. Again, start signing guys from practice squads. You have lots of roster spaces to work with.
Well, the one thing that we have to remember too, and I keep cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
One thing we haven't mentioned is if you sign someone from another team's practice squad, they have to go on your 53, right?
Right. Yeah.
They have to. Okay, so that's one of the. It's not just okay. Hey, we're going to take him and put him on our practice squad. No, that's not how it works.
Yep.
So
right.
Yep. So, but there's a bunch of guys you can drop down to the practice squad. You got a lot of guys with practice squad eligibility and all that stuff.
Well, and again, what you do is you sign those guys, right? And then you just have them work with Allen. Like once Allen's cleared to throw again, don't even play him. But he can still practice.
Yeah, let him do
it. Just let him build chemistry with these new receivers that you're bringing in, and just see what happens. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
So you need to start trying to develop some chemistry because clearly there's no chemistry with KB. Regardless of the quarterback. Terrell Pryor looked terrible today. Like you throw what are you doing throwing a fade on the goal line? What are you doing throwing a corner fade route on the 1 yard line?
We're trying to open up the middle of the field.
Well, I get that the only way you got a ball in from the 1 yard line was a Nathan Peterman, quarterback sneak. I get that, right? But you just have to be better than that. I did. You just have to be better than that, right?
I do.
That's all there is to it. You just have to be better than that.
I got to be better. I apologize.
No, I was talking about Nate Peterman. I was talking about Nate. Never mind.
Okay. Below zero. Can't give up on Allen. Goff's first season was unremarkable.
Yep.
But then again, he had Jeff Fisher, which is a defensive-minded head coach, and they got rid of him for Sean McVay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Thomas Camp brought up that point. He goes, "This is what you get with the defensive head coach." I think that's a fair point in today's NFL.
That's an excellent point.
We had an episode about that a couple weeks ago, and that's what we talked about.
So many defensive head coaches that have quarterbacks that have run-first philosophies.
Yeah.
And they want to control the clock, and they want to rest their defense. And I was like, oh my good dear God! First quarter, 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Bears had the ball for 11 minutes. Mm-hmm. The Bills ended up had the ball longer than the Bills, or longer than the Bears for the whole game.
Yeah.
But that first quarter, oh my God.
Yeah.
Your defense can't do that.
No.
They can't be on the field that much. I don't care how good they are. Mm-hmm. You can't have them on the field that much.
Yep. I do want to get to a couple more of the comments, right? You can't give up on below zero comments. You can't give up on Allen Goff's first season was unremarkable. Absolutely true. So is Mitchell Trubisky's. Yeah. No. The point that I'm trying to make here is that it is easy to very quickly get down on what we've seen, right? But again, you have to put into perspective who is best to help Allen. Right? Is Allen at this point, are you looking to get him education on the field? Do you think it's going to hurt him playing him? I know we talked about shutting him down before, And we talked about that just a few minutes ago. But what do you need to do to make everything click on this offense? Like, what is the big change?
As far as right now, as far as what on the field you have to do, I think they're just going to try to make it through the rest of the season.
Oh,
with
that's where we are?
I think they're going to do patchwork. But and the one thing that possibly shutting down Allen could tell them is that, listen, all right, we could play Allen if these are the players that he's going to play with next year.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to completely revamp this offense. We're going to get new wideouts. We're going to revamp the line. So why have him learn or play games with this offense if with that $85 million they have, they're going to end up getting new parts?
So let me ask this. So if Allen does come back, are we assuming that this is that these pieces are what they want to move forward with?
I think that's Why else would you put him back in?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why they put him in the first place.
Unless, I will say yes.
Okay.
If they get a new coordinator.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Okay.
I think
you may have a coordinator out there like Dorsey who may say, "Listen, I can work with this. I see where your problems are.
Right.
I'm outside the organization. I can see what's wrong with this offense.
Yeah.
There's probably thousands of people in Buffalo that know what's wrong with this offense. But,
yeah.
But that may be the thing. I would shut them down. I would not try to acquire any more players that could help them win the season, because the season, realistically, what are you, 2-7 now?
Yeah.
Done.
Shut it down?
Done. Shut it down.
Shut it down?
Shut it down. We're not going to shut it down, but the
No.
Bills are going to shut it down. But they won't tell anybody that they're
No.
going to shut it down.
No,
They're
of
just
course
going to
not.
do it.
So, at what point do we find McDermott to be in danger here, right? Because the path of least resistance when it comes to this kind of stuff is you start firing coordinators. If a head coach feels like they're in trouble, they start firing coordinators.
It depends what he said with
happens.
Pagula. Depends on the relationship he has with Pagula.
Okay.
And what he says. Listen. He probably wanted, if he went into Pagula's office and listen, I know this looks atrocious right now. You're still selling out games. So, listen, these are the plans that I have in place for coming for next year. We have this much under the cap. We have this many picks. Believe me, my system. Let me get the guys in here for my system. Rome wasn't built in a day. He may try to do all that stuff. It depends if he's already went and talked to Pagula and said, listen, this is what I have planned. Just let me execute it. I know it's going to look bad right now, but at the end of this, you're going to have a consistent playoff contender. So,
right. Well, and we've talked about, the Carolina blueprint and kind of how Carolina's been as an organization to here. And that's actually a great episode. It didn't get viewed enough, in my opinion, the Carolina blueprint episode, because we talked about everything that was Carolina as a franchise. I love that episode. But the point is, the reason that I referenced that is because they did have to build Rome in a day here. Because they fired their entire pro personnel department, and you probably hired a lot of people from the Carolina organization, right? That's where Beane and McDermott spent a majority of their career, so that's what they brought in.
All the ones that Gettleman didn't take with him to New York.
Exactly. That's my point, is that Gettleman went to New York. So that pro personnel department was probably pretty picked over by the time it got to the Bills hiring. So the Bills are picking up, the scraps.
Or was all of Whaley's department fired?
Yeah, they canned everybody.
Okay. Because I'm wondering, you may have conflicting views inside that room of Whaley's guys, and you know what I mean. And everyone, that's when everyone was talking about maybe Schwartz and Rex could work together. No, that's completely different philosophies. I digress. The point being is that you're right. You probably didn't have much to work with if all the guys they took were Gettleman took all the guys first from Carolina.
Yeah. So you're really patchworking from the back end front office stuff. So when we complain about depth, we complain about the personnel on the roster. You have to consider where they got these guys in the first place. And if they're not exactly picking honor roll candidates, then this is kind of what you're going to get. So I really, really look forward, and that's something that I wish that the news would cover more often. Local media doesn't talk about that at all, unless there's a mass firing of the entire personnel department like they had with Whaley. Local media, and we're not immune to that. They don't cover those what look like minor, insignificant moves within the pro personnel department. Those are going to be critical, and that's what I want to start looking at now. Are the Bills, what are they doing now to pump up their pro personnel department right while the college season is still going on? What are they doing to improve that front office behind the scenes? Because while we can blame Bean, and we can blame McDermott all day long.
On the surface, yeah.
Yeah, on the surface, absolutely. They're the ones that are accountable for it, but they hold everybody else accountable. So what behind the scenes is happening to correct that problem? Because that's what you do first. Before Pegula fires anybody, he's going to say, well, what options did you explore down the road, and how, did you take care of the problems behind the scenes? If you didn't take care of the problems behind the scenes, then and you didn't recognize them, then you got to go. But you got to start, again, whenever we see coaches in trouble, when Rex was in trouble, what'd he do? He fired Roman, because Roman was a head coach candidate the season before.
He's the patsy.
Yeah, so you get him out and you say, listen, I'm fixing the problem. I'm fixing the problem.
It depends when he fixes the problem too. If he goes through the bye week, and we got a great point. Thomas Camp, McDermott will be on the hot seat if we lose the remaining 7 games. Well, that's true. But if he, let's say he changes coordinators at the bye week. Now that coordinator has complete, he can do whatever. He's playing with house money at that point.
Yeah.
You can do anything with this offense, and if it shows, like the offense so far has like 10 points per game, 11 points per game, I think it was prior to today. If you end up getting, let's say, 14, 17 points a game over those remaining games, even if you lose them all, he can mark that as, see, it's improving, it's getting there. We just had the wrong guy at the helm.
Right.
But I think he bought himself 2 years regardless, just by making the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with
really think he
that.
did.
I agree with that. I do want to point out the Bills have, if you take the Vikings game off the board, take it off the board, the Bills have 16 first half points this season. 16 points in the first half
In 8 games.
season in 8 games, right? That's inexcusable. I don't care. I don't care at all. In any case, I don't care who the personnel is. I don't care what you say about the talent level. That is coaching. That is coaching, because you should be able to scheme your way accidentally into some points.
Do they even watch film on the teams they play to see what the holes are?
Dude, I don't know.
I know the Bears have a pretty
It's
good
so
defense.
frustrating.
I understand it.
Yeah, this is a tough game to really hammer them on, because the Bears are a top 10 defense.
Yes,
right?
they are. They are a top 10 defense, and I looked at it. So were the Bills. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I expected this game to be. How many did they give up defensively? 24 points
Yeah.
of the 40.
About 41.
41. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, some of those were such short fields. You really blame them for giving up 7 or 3 on those.
Give them 190 yards in offense today. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
40
yards
points
in
with
offense.
190 yards of total offense.
Isn't that crazy? Terrible.
It's absurd.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Two defensive touchdowns.
Yep. That's Madden numbers. You do that in Madden. When you just run, when you just blitz all day, that's what you do in Madden.
Engage 8.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Just bring the house.
Tim, that's pretty funny.
Outside looking in, 2016 team, 399 points is the most points in 20.
This year they cut Roman. In 20 years, you mean? That's the most points they scored in 20 years?
That wasn't good enough. Right? But think about it. The Bills scored almost 400 points. The Bills have yet to hit 100 this year. I know. Terrifying. Terrifying.
But it's not on Dable.
No.
I struggle to see where people are coming from.
Thank you. 20 years. Thank you.
Yes.
Outside looking in.
I struggle to find the people that say that Dable isn't accountable for what's going on the field. I struggle to see what their thought process is.
Yeah,
I really
do too.
Because, okay, you're not blaming Dable. Where does the blame fall if you can't get this offense going anywhere? Oh, the line is awful. The wide receivers are awful. People always used to make that excuse for Brady. He doesn't have any wide receivers, yet he would throw for 300 every game. Why? Okay, it's the scheme.
Scheme.
Okay?
Yeah.
Well, you got to find a way to get those guys open and find a way for players to be successful, utilizing their talent.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm terrified if they keep Dable on this staff. It doesn't matter what offensive talent they bring in next year because he's not going to know how to use it anyway.
No, not at all.
He was given the best athletes in the country when he was at Alabama.
Yep.
All right. And then he was able. Oh yeah, he won a national title at Alabama calling plays. Just goes to show you anybody can call plays at Alabama when he got saved in there.
I don't know if that's true. I bet you Charlie Weiss couldn't have done that good a job.
I take
hated
that back.
Charlie Weiss.
I hate
hated
as much
Charlie
as I
Weiss.
hate Charlie Weiss. He still could have got a national title.
Thomas Camp, the offensive line is the total problem. There's a lot of problems, man. So it's really tough to tell exactly what it is. Offensive line is terrible, and we've covered that in previous episodes, talking about
great question.
how the offensive line degraded and the things that were outside of the Bills' control as far as the offensive line goes. But again, you look at the depth on this roster and you just don't have any, right? It's just if the Bills,
You got practice squad guys all over this roster.
if the Bills are going to draft a right tackle next year, all right, if that's what we're going to invest our the top 5 pick in, we're going to draft a tackle. All right, man, whatever, I guess, right? And I'll take anything that improves this offense.
Would you take
Anything
a
at
right
all.
tackle with Bosa sitting there?
Would I take a right tackle? No, I wouldn't take a right tackle with Bosa on the board. Couldn't do it.
Because there's a lot of people talking about best player available.
I know.
I'm just saying.
Bosa's damn good, man. He's damn good.
Great comment. Dennis Chapman. Is the O-line bad enough for Dable to get a pass?
I would love to see what the parking lot looks like of the Bills Stadium at the end of the season if it is announced that Brian Dable's not fired. Can you imagine the mayhem? Let's say we make it through bye week, Dable's still employed, he makes it through the whole season. Coming up next year, Dable's rolled out as the OC. It is going to be mayhem there unless things seriously turn around. And I just don't see that happening, right? I just don't see that happening. I can't even bring myself to think about it. I just don't see that happening. And could somebody please go check Tyrod Taylor's house for a Nate Peterman voodoo doll? Like what?
That was perfect. I love
What
that.
is wrong with it? Today wasn't even like those two of those picks. I mean, the ball to Benjamin was a little bit behind him. The ball to Zay was a little behind. But I mean, we're getting super picky here.
Yeah. How often does a ball get knocked up in the air and for a pick? Like, oh man, that was unfortunate. To have 2 in one game, come on.
Yep.
I can't blame any of the.
What are you gonna do?
Maybe if the ball was, you said the one to Benjamin was low,
Yeah, it was low and back.
but
You know.
I can't even put any of those picks on him. I can't. I can't put the. You're running a wide receiver screen to the wide side to Zay Jones, and Peterman has to get it there before the defender.
Mm-hmm.
You called that play.
Oh, he did. Yeah, absolutely.
You called that play.
Yeah, that's
you
a
know
great
his
point.
arm can't break glass when you're standing next to it with a
Peter-
hammer, but you call that play.
Peterman checks to that route. Did you see that before the play? Peterman, did you notice that?
No.
Peterman's in shotgun, and he looks over at Zay, and all he does is goes like this, right? He goes and points. So of course they know it's going to Zay Jones. He looked at Zay Jones and pointed to where he wanted him to run. What is this, practice? Like, of course they knew what the route was. Of course they know you're running that little. What is it like? It was a screen, but I mean it was past the line of scrimmage.
It's
So
the
it's not
same
really a
that the
screen.
Patriots run
Yeah.
all the time on the goal line.
Yep.
They usually run it to Hogan or Edelman.
But Zay Jones had no protection on that play. That's the thing the Patriots will do is they'll protect that route, right? They'll protect that hot route, and the Bills didn't. do that.
Outside looking in, and we got to wrap this up.
Yep.
A little bit. So 57% of our team is 27 or older. So this team will be getting even younger, right? Yeah. I don't care if our whole team is 30 or over. I really don't care if they can.
But of the percentage that are under 27 years of age,
The 43%.
yeah, the 43%, I think almost all of them are first or second year players.
Yeah, they had to sit during the Monday night game, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Terrible. Well, even like Marcus Murphy's only technically got 2 years vested in the NFL. He's 27. You see how that is. All right, so we do have to wrap this up.
Barkley starts next game.
Oh, please don't. No. Get out of here with that. Barkley starts next game. Please stop it. I do think it's a fair question. Does Derek Anderson come back? Right?
Why would he?
Anderson said that if I feel like I'm wasting my time, I'm just not going to be here. I think he's got to be pretty close to feeling like he's wasting his time. Shady too. Shady just doesn't. He hasn't looked healthy all season. he just looks like he's trying really hard, man. He looks like he's trying really hard. I get it that this line just doesn't give him a lot to work with, and Ivory is a little bit more, well, I'm supposed to run 4 gap, so if there's nothing there, it's still coming to the 4 gap, so we'll see what happens. I get that that's a little bit of a philosophical difference between the way they play the game, Ivory to McCoy, but you really do have to ask yourself, the veterans that are on this team, how many are really, really, really checked in for the rest of the season? I don't know how many.
I sent my resume to one Bills drive.
Did you?
Yep. They're running out of quarterbacks to sign.
Did you send it on lined paper?
I did.
Yeah.
So Dave can
paper?
read it. All right, so we're gonna go film the episodes for this week.
Yeah.
Once again, the chat was phenomenal today. The feedback, thank you guys, especially for the show. We're glad you guys enjoy all the chaotic and stuff that we do, and we're gonna keep doing it. So once again, we feel your pain as far as the Bills lost today. Probably no more than the defense does, but start JP Lossman. All right, that's enough. That's Miguel. You just lost your card. I'm just kidding. But
JP Lossman, former quarterback for Brian Dable. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, JP Lossman, former quarterback for Brian Dable.
And you thought it couldn't get any worse.
Yeah, there we go.
We're out of here to film the episodes. Thanks again.
Yeah, if there's anything you guys want to hear
Yeah.
for this week, just go ahead and comment on any of the videos. We're going to be driving around, so we'll have access to all that stuff. So if there's anything you guys want, just go ahead and hit up a comment on any of the videos. We'll check those to make sure that there's any topics you want. Now, bye week's coming up, right? So again, anything you want to talk about, nothing's off the table. Literally any Bills topic we are good with. You want to talk about draft, we'll talk about the draft. Anything you want, let us know and we will cut that episode. Yeah, we'll talk to you guys then and we'll see you then. Thanks for chilling with us. #sports here in Niagara Falls, New York.
Deuces.
Later.